moving that jab up and down. And then when you go downstairs, take that downstairs, come up with the left hook. It's gonna be open, because it's gonna fall down into it. Anytime you jab down low, just keep trying to come over the top.
Or like you could say, hey, you know what? I can't beat that Mayweather style. I was too young, but look, I did it now against Crawford.
I forget Mayweather a long time ago. This is different for me, you know? I lost that day and that's it. I learned a lot.
So who do you like in Canelo versus Crawford?
Well, I'm a giant Crawford fan because I think he's the best switch hitter since Marvin Hagler. I also think Canelo is slowing down, and Canelo is more of a one-punch fighter now than the combination fighter he was when he was younger.
Canelo reacts strongly after hearing Terence Crawford sparred with Floyd Mayweather in training camp. He says things have become more personal now, claiming Crawford has disrespected him repeatedly. Canelo feels targeted, believing Terence is trying to make him look weak or irrelevant. He warns that this fight won't just be business anymore.
Tell me a little bit about that. Did things get a little bit personal now?
Yeah, a little bit more personal because, you know, I did respect him. I don't respect him anymore because he say, I'm not gonna do what they want me to do and this and that. And then he tried to, maybe Turki Al-Ashi told him, hey, you need to do something because you seem so nervous in Riyadh. So and he tried to like walk me back, and that's why I pushed him. And you know, like I say, don't fuck with me.
Terence Crawford has made it clear that he doesn't view Canelo Alvarez's resume as impressive as others might. From Crawford's point of view, the so-called elite names on Canelo's record were already past their prime when they fought him. He draws attention to fighters like Shane Mosley, Miguel Cotto, and Sergey Kovalev, who were clearly declining when Canelo faced them. Moreover, Crawford sees the one active legend, Floyd Mayweather, as someone who clearly outclassed Canelo in their fight. For Crawford, these facts weaken the argument that Canelo's career gives him a superior standing in the sport. He also feels slighted by Canelo's dismissal of his own accomplishments, stating that Canelo tends to overlook the quality of his opposition in an attempt to undermine him.
Things about Canelo's resume, but I won't, you know. I wanna, you know, pay homage to the fighters that he fought, and if he don't wanna pay homage to the fighters I fought, if he think they nobodies, then come fight time, then I wonder what they're gonna say after I beat him.
Promoter Eddie Hearn acknowledges the natural size advantage Canelo has, but doesn't dismiss Crawford's chances. In his view, Crawford's confidence and razor-sharp focus create a real sense of danger for anyone he faces, even a bigger opponent like Canelo. Hearn emphasizes that belief and mindset can shift outcomes in boxing. With Crawford's determination and discipline, he sees a real possibility of an upset. Hearn also notes that while size plays a role, Crawford's ability to control pace, distance, and rhythm can neutralize that gap.
Not for him, like not against him, sorry, for him. Like he's so, I think he has no doubt that he beats Canelo Alvarez.
Of course.
I really like Terence, by the way. I think he's a great fighter. But I have to say, like, tell me his major significant wins.
Well, obviously Errol Spence.
Yeah, but come on.
No, but he beat a guy who was in the top 5 pound for pound, and he destroyed him. That's really never happened.
No, I agree.
In the history.
I agree. I mean, look, he was coming off, you know, some eye problems, but
nobody was saying that when he was beating
we're giving
Danny
that credit.
and Ugas.
Tell me more.
I'm just saying.
I don't know, but
that's a big win.
No, but,
now,
keep going.
Your guy from the UK who he stopped him, what, in the 5th round, was it?
Kell Brook.
Kell Brook.
Finished by then. Yeah, go on, keep going.
Okay, he stopped somebody that nobody's ever really can hurt.
Well,
Sean Porter.
I mean, yeah, but that was about 8 years before, and Errol Spence stopped.
That wasn't. What do you mean?
Yeah, when he beat Sean Porter.
No, that was in 2023.
Who?
Terence Crawford beat Sean Porter.
No, I'm talking about Kell Brook against Sean Porter.
No, I was talking about Bud. I'm not talking about that. Yeah. But he stopped him, though. Nobody's ever able to really hurt Sean.
By the way, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just
that was a great win.
Is like an open
and he didn't have a lot of names at 140, but Postal and all those guys, those are good fighters. They weren't big names. Just like Bam, he doesn't have the great. He doesn't have a whole lot of great names. Just like
Strada.
In a way, yeah, he does have two great fights. But
By the way, he's one of my favorite fighters.
Doesn't have a bunch of names.
John Ryder, who has shared the ring with Canelo, offers an informed opinion on the difficulty of facing the Mexican champion. He acknowledges that Canelo's physical presence is overwhelming and that the weight jump required for Crawford would be no easy task. Yet, even with that in mind, Ryder believes that if anyone has the mental and physical tools to handle the challenge, it's Crawford. He praises Crawford's adaptability and skill set, indicating that his technical brilliance could offset the physical disadvantages.
Can he go up 2 divisions? A lot of people in his camp believe that he's even going to stop him, but yeah, what's your thoughts?
If there's any man that could do it, it would be Terence Crawford, but I just think the sheer size of Canelo is going to be too much on the line.
So do you think size will be too much? I mean, you were in there with Canelo, you landed good shots and he took them, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Terence Crawford is an exceptional talent, but I think the size will be the factor on the night and he'd just be too big, too strong.
Terence Crawford has been methodical in planning his strategy. He outlines 2 approaches to overcoming Canelo. The first is to pressure him, disrupt his rhythm, and overwhelm him with volume. The second is to take a more calculated route, mimicking Mayweather's blueprint of slick defense, counters, and footwork. Crawford admits that he won't have the size that Mayweather enjoyed during his prime days, but he feels confident in his own speed and timing. He sees himself as a hybrid, capable of adjusting to any style and mixing aggression with tactical brilliance. That versatility might be his key to solving the Canelo puzzle.
It's 2 things that you can do with somebody bigger and stronger. You know, you can either try to push them back, you know, because 9 times out of 10, a strong fighter not used to going back, you know, so it kind of fucks them up in the head, you know.
Yeah.
Or you can just box them because some of them just slower than others because they got flat feet, and they just looking to load up on certain shots.
Now, Crawford's definitely right here. There's 2 ways to beat a pressure fighter like Canelo. Either you put the pressure back on him, which is where guys like Triple G and Bivol had success, or you use your superior skills and footwork on the outside, which is how Floyd Mayweather won. Now, Crawford, he can't use the pressure approach because he's not as physically dominant as guys like Golovkin or Bivol. You know, Bud is a welterweight or junior middleweight jumping up. He doesn't have the size to push Canelo back. Now, the outside boxing approach, that is definitely Crawford's best chance against Canelo. You know, he is right. Canelo does struggle to cut off the ring at times. We saw that in the Skull fight. And he does load up on single shots now. But at the same time, Crawford is not the same pure boxer that Floyd Mayweather was. You know, Mayweather rarely got hit in that shell. And his form of countering, you know, a pull counter, for example, was, I'm not going to get touched and then I'll make you pay. Whereas Crawford's style of counterpunching is different. Bud will take one to throw 2 or 3 back. And he can't do that against Canelo because of the size and power difference. If Bud takes a clean right hand to throw back an uppercut or a hook, he's either going to get dropped or he's going to end up on his bike like Jermell Charlo. So while I do agree Crawford does have the superior skill set in this fight, but because he doesn't have the size to push Canelo back or the defense of someone like Mayweather to stay perfect for 12 rounds on the outside, I do think Canelo's size and power will make the difference in this fight. And that's why I like Canelo to win.
Joe Rogan's take on the matchup reflects a growing sentiment in the fight community. He points out that Canelo, while still elite, has shown signs of decline in terms of speed and stamina. Meanwhile, Crawford continues to sharpen his craft and dominate across multiple divisions. Rogan believes that the timing may favor Crawford, who is currently at the height of his powers. He highlights Crawford's pound-for-pound standing and sees the matchup as far more competitive than it might appear on paper.
So who do you like in Canelo versus Crawford?
Well, I'm a giant Crawford fan because I think he's the best switch hitter since Marvin Hagler. I also think Canelo is slowing down, and Canelo is more of a one-punch fighter now than the combination fighter he was when he was younger.
Do you think Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez?
Yeah, I think he can win.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to win, but I think he can win. He's going to have to box a brilliant fight.
If Ray Leonard could beat Marvelous Marvin Hagler, then Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez. Why do you say that? Same equation. Get in, get out. Get in, get out.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. He's got to figure the angles and the approaches that will allow him to step in, land to the body, or occasionally upstairs, and then get out.
Jim Lampley, the legendary boxing commentator, frames the fight in a broader context. He sees the matchup as a collision between 2 warriors who are fueled by pride and legacy. While the size difference is obvious, Lampley argues that both fighters are defined by more than just physical traits. They share a hunger to be the best and an unwillingness to back down from any challenge.
Crawford is going to fight Canelo because even if I have some doubts and misgivings about the size matchup, it is 2 action fighters who like to fight aggressively at times, not all the times, going against each other, and we'll see who can open the other person's tuna can, so to speak.
Max Kellerman doesn't hesitate to crown Terence Crawford as the current king of boxing's pound-for-pound list. He respects what Canelo has achieved in the past, but he believes that Canelo's best days are behind him. According to Kellerman, Crawford's recent performances have been flawless, showing complete control over every opponent regardless of weight class. Meanwhile, Canelo has looked more beatable against fighters like Dimitri Bivol and even John Ryder.
You know who's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world? Bud Crawford. Apologies to the monster and Usyk. Bud Crawford has my vote for best pound-for-pound. Who was the best pound-for-pound before Bud? Canelo Alvarez, universally recognized that way. But it's not just these two guys, the last two best pound-for-pound fighters in the world.
Teddy Atlas offers a nuanced perspective. He respects Canelo's skills, calling him a complete and well-trained fighter. But when it comes to Terence Crawford, Atlas uses a different tone. He describes Crawford as special, a term he reserves only for fighters with extraordinary instincts and intelligence in the ring. Atlas points to Crawford's ability to make mid-fight adjustments, his calm under pressure, and his ruthless finishing ability. He suggests that while Canelo is great, Crawford might be in a tier reserved for the rarest talents in the sport.
Maybe he's a little overrated.
Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds.
Canelo's really good. Really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. Canelo's really good. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire. It's in his mind. It's in his makeup, where he came from. I know he's moving up in weight class. Can he carry it? But those intangibles, I believe that he has them.
Daniel Jacobs, having fought Canelo and observed Crawford up close, provides valuable insight. He says that both fighters are fast, but the kind of speed Crawford has is different. It's more explosive and unpredictable. Jacobs also notes that Crawford's ability to switch stances and throw from odd angles gives him an edge that even Canelo might not be able to anticipate. After weighing the attributes of both fighters, Jacobs admits that if he had to pick a winner, he would lean toward Crawford due to his timing, sharpness, and ring IQ.
In sparring, but I had at least over 15 years of knowing him, amateur, professional. I've seen where he started. I've seen how he's gotten better over time, but I also just know what resides in him. He's a dog, he's a beast, and he's out to prove something too. So I'm excited about this fight. Canelo obviously is self-explanatory. There's really no need to go down the rabbit hole when it comes to him. But I do see this being as a 50-50 fight. But if I was a betting man, I would bet on Crawford. But also too, you can't count Canelo out. I mean, would go in, I'm assuming, as the favorite, which is rightfully so.
A lot of people say that version that you fought was probably the best, Canelo Alvarez. And since then, obviously, naturally, he's slightly declined. Yeah. Do you see this decline that people talk about?
Well, I can see in increments because Canelo, which I've always said is an amazing, legendary fighter, but he fights in spurts. So sometimes it takes for the opponent to actually initialize him giving the best. When he was faced with me, the opposition that I had and what I was giving him, it was just a lot, whether it was boxing, whether it was coming forward, but most importantly, it was the punches and bunches. And so he was forced to either stand there, wait for the right time, or be combative and go back at it. So I think that's what Crawford may have to do, push the pressure, make Canelo fight, or maybe just play it safe, win on points,
Brian Bomac McIntyre, Crawford's longtime trainer, expresses full confidence in his fighter. He believes that time is on their side. The more they prepare, the better Crawford becomes, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Bomac explains that every aspect of training has been tailored with Canelo in mind, from nutrition and conditioning to film study and strategy.
A different approach in terms of crafting a plan and going into camp?
No, not really. We know the type of fighter Canelo is. So, as a fighter, you mentally prepare for things like that. And then as a trainer, just making sure he's sharp. His mental game is sharp. His physical game is sharp. You know, strength-wise, you know, nutrition is everything. Got to, like I said, hitting on all cylinders. So by the time he step in that ring, it's easy picking.
Jaron Ennis, a rising star himself, takes a more cautious stance. He doesn't doubt Crawford's skill, but he's realistic about the physical challenge ahead. Ennis highlights that if Crawford can't make Canelo respect his power, the fight could turn in Canelo's favor. He emphasizes that skill matters, but at some point, damage needs to be done, and that might be harder for a naturally smaller fighter.
But I think you gotta lean more towards Canelo, because like I said before, he been pitting big guys out and down, and Canelo not even really a 68-pounder. He probably really should be at 60, maybe. And he been hurting these guys. I think he be dropping these guys and things like that. So, and them guys be way bigger than him come fight night. I know that for sure. They be probably close to 200 pounds, and he dropping those guys like that. So, I don't know. You know, it's gonna be a great fight. You know, the fans want to see it. So, you know, so be it. I think Crawford should take a warm-up fight. You know, at like 60 or like at least at 60, just to get his body, you know, the feeling of somebody a little bit bigger, you know, and things like that. You know, I know when you go up a weight, you gotta, you know, develop that power and not develop the power, but like put that muscle on and be heavier and things like that. So he might not want to take a fight because he's trying to build up right now. But I think he should, just to stay sharp and that way he don't have like a long layoff or anything like that.
Alexander Usyk, known for defying weight class expectations himself, sees this as a fair matchup. He acknowledges the difficulty for Crawford, but also affirms his status as the best pound-for-pound boxer today. Roy Jones Jr. says this fight hinges entirely on Crawford's mindset. If Crawford enters the ring with full sharpness and the right plan, Roy believes he can outmaneuver Canelo. But he also notes that if Crawford is off even slightly, the experience and power of Canelo could tilt the fight. It all depends on execution under pressure.
Off here for pro boxing fans, joined by, does he need any introduction, Hall of Fame legend Roy Jones Jr. here in the UK. There's a few questions about the US guys. Obviously, Tank and Lamont Roach, we saw the first fight. Lamont Roach shot the world. What do you think happens in a rematch if they fight?
I think he shocks the world again. But the only thing different this time is Tank will come with a different attitude, different personality, different motivation. And I think Roach will do good again, but I think Tank will be more dominant this time.
And obviously we know if Canelo wins against William Skull, he will fight Terence Crawford in September. Who would you favour in that fight?
You know, it's a hard one to call, and I'm going to tell you why it's a hard one to call. It's a hard one to call because it'll all be predicated upon how Canelo approaches the fight. If Canelo approaches the fight like he's the man and he can box and outbox Terence Crawford, he'll get beat. If he comes out and shows that he really wants to go out and prove the world that he's still the best, he might win. So it all depends on which Canelo come to the dance.
Brian Norman brings up the narrative side of this fight. He states that if Canelo beats Crawford, critics may not give him full credit due to the size mismatch. On the other hand, if Crawford wins, it becomes a monumental achievement. The clash between Crawford and Canelo is about more than belts. It's about legacy. This fight is likely to define the careers of both men. The winner won't just walk away with a victory. He'll be remembered as the superior fighter of his era.
Deal with Canelo's experience over time, right? Even though Terence is the older fighter, he has, I think, 20 less fights than Canelo does, or maybe more. I think more than 20. And also, you know, competition level. This will be the most skilled, most experienced, biggest, strongest fighter that Terence Crawford's ever faced, without a question.
I love you both, but you still did not answer the question. How do you see this fight ending?
I told you.
Don't say with your hands.
I'm going.
Knock out.
I'm going.
Knock
Listen,
him out the ring.
Listen.
Shaq's trying to get that one-liner. He's trying to get that go viral moment from Bud, but he's just not that guy, right? And I think what he's about to say is like he's not going to go in there and be like, I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to do it in the first round. And plus, I wouldn't want to hear that, right? As much as that sounds nice as a soundbite, I wouldn't want to hear that because I don't think he believes that. And I don't believe that. I want to hear what Bud actually believes, which is, yeah, that he'll win, but not like this mystic Mac, let me predict the round, here's why, unless he truly believes that. And I don't think Bud does. I think he believes he'll get it done by any means necessary, whether that's, let's say, he was able to knock Canelo out or he gets it done by decision. Doesn't really matter because a fight is a fight at the end of the day, and all he needs to do is win.
Always in my mind doesn't exist a loss. You know, I train, I put my best, I dedicate myself to this sport, and I'm just thinking about win.
Many still view Canelo through the lens of his dominant prime, but the sport has changed, and so has he. With Crawford exposing weaknesses in the narrative surrounding Canelo's resume, fans are beginning to reevaluate what his past victories really mean. The fight may shift public opinion forever.
So you heard about what Canelo said about Terence Crawford's resume already and how he has no elite fighters on his resume. And say what you want about that, you know, agree to disagree or whatever. What do you guys think of Crawford saying this about Canelo? Canelo fought great champions, but most were past their prime. But when they weren't, you saw what happened. Lara, Mayweather, and Bivol. Obviously, Mayweather was past his prime already, I'd say. But he's right. I rewatched the Lara fight, and, you know, that Cuban style is just tricky to deal with. And, you know, a lot of people would say that Lara won that fight. And then Bivol, it was, I mean, I don't need to convince you about that. That fight was a clear-cut victory for Bivol. And it just showed that Canelo isn't this unbeatable person. You know, with the right set of skills, you can beat him. And I don't know, what do you guys think? Has Terence Crawford fought any elite boxers? You could say, you know, Errol Spence, but then, you know, after the whole horrible accident that he had. So who knows, right?
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.